Willkommen, kleine Kinder. Today we're going to learn about how to fly a loop, a basic aerobatic maneuver that involves flying in a circle, just up instead of sideways. We'll cover parameters and maneuver setup, maneuver execution, techniques to finesse the loop, and some general sticking points of the loop that students tend to struggle with. As a disclaimer, for those of you not at Vance Air Force Base or not flying the T-6 Alpha, some of the altitudes being referenced here are specific to Vance MOAs. Refer to your local guidance to corroborate data. If you're not flying a T-6 Alpha, well, Godspeed. The loop, like most other aerobatic maneuvers, is governed by training rules, which can be found in your in-flight guide. The training rules relevant for the loop are that we must be at least 6,000 feet AGL, be able to maintain clear of clouds during the maneuver, have 3 statute miles of visibility, and have a discernible horizon. The airspeed entry parameters for the loop in the T-6 Alpha are 230 to 250 knots. For the low area, anything in that range is going to work just fine. In the high area, it's recommended to use the higher end of that range. The power setting for the loop is max power. That doesn't necessarily mean 100% torque, just that the PCL is in the max position. Your max torque will vary based on the altitude you're flying the maneuver at. The 11248 recommends that you have at least 3,000 feet of altitude above you to complete the loop. With that in mind, a good starting altitude would be 8,000 to 8,500 feet in the low MOAs. In the high MOAs, 16,000 feet gives you plenty of space above you while also not taking particularly long to climb to, and giving you a buffer for altitude loss at the end of the maneuver. Setting up for the loop can be done any number of ways, but the most expeditious is to trade altitude for airspeed. If you're in the middle of the low MOA at 9,500 feet, you can trade 1,000 feet of altitude for 50 knots of airspeed by using max power and putting your nose 10 degrees nose low. It's recommended to align yourself with a section line in order to effect a straighter, more symmetrical loop over the top. When you're on speed and in parameters, begin the maneuver by pulling the stick straight back to your zipper using a 3 to 4G pull, while keeping the wings as level as possible. As you transition towards 90 degrees nose high, check both wingtips to ensure that they're the same distance from the horizon, and also check your rudder ball, easing in a little bit of rudder pressure to keep it centered. As your nose approaches 90 degrees nose high, your airspeed will be about 180 to 200 knots. As you transition over the top, look up and use the rudder to align your CFIS cord with the section line below you if you used one for maneuver setup. Otherwise, just keep centering the rudder ball. Over the top, you should be in the ballpark of 100 to 130 knots. Because you're slowing down at the top of the loop, you'll probably get into the stick shaker at some point. This indicates that you're max performing your turn at the current AOA. Chase the stick shaker on the back side of the loop for at least the first 90 degrees of nose track until you're confident you can feather out the backstick pressure to bring the aircraft to a wings level attitude at your initial altitude. Some common student errors with the loop include the following. When starting the pull, students often pull from their elbow instead of their wrist, resulting in a cockeyed loop. To mitigate this, lock your arm against your leg and pull with your wrist towards your zipper. As airspeed is changing, students will generally neglect the rudder, which can affect alignment of the nose and the symmetry of the loop. At dangerously low speeds, it has the potential to precipitate into a power-on spin, inverted. Another common student error is not pulling enough G. Early on, it's not readily apparent what 3 to 4 Gs feels like, and that's normal. Cross-check your G meter at the start of the maneuver to prevent dangerously low airspeeds near the top. Finally, as a student, you should be training to recognize when a maneuver is going well, and also when it's not. If you recognize you're executing the maneuver and it's just not working out, or you're approaching these dangerously low airspeeds, or you're going to bust a MOA, execute the appropriate recovery, be it nose high, nose low, or inverted. Now we'll go back again and play the loop in real time so you can get a feel for the actual pacing and execution of the maneuver.